Aloha and welcome to the Boy Mom Podcast with my mom, Monica Swanson. On the Boy Mom Podcast, it is our goal to bring you practical advice and biblical wisdom for raising boys in this sometimes crazy world. You can always find show notes over at monicaswanson.com/podcasts. We're so glad you're here.
So what God's saying is, I know that the things I created, which you can see, are so wonderful, but don't be distracted by the things you can see, because you ought to focus primarily on the things that you can't see. And the way you focus on things you can't see is you use your imagination.
Hey friends, you are listening to the voice of my firstborn son, Josiah Swanson, and it is my privilege and honor to share Josiah with you today. In this special episode, I invited Josiah on because we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the release of my book, Boy Mom. Boy Mom came out on August 6th of 2019, and it has been an amazing year. Even in the craziness of the world, I've had such a great time getting to know boy moms from all over the world. And if you have read Boy Mom, I want to thank you for being a part of this last year, and this podcast too. This whole community has really been a big part of the last year. So thank you. Now, if you have read Boy Mom and you haven't left a rating or review over on Amazon, that would be such a gift to me if you could go over and do that. And I know a lot of people have never left a rating or review, so it's really easy. This is what you do. You simply go to Amazon and find Boy Mom, and then you scroll down to where it says leave a review. And kind of just like podcast, you can click on 5 stars, or you can leave a few words about what you love most about the book. It is truly the best way to help Amazon rankings go up. It helps more people around the world find Boy Mom, and it's a blessing to me. I read every one. And of course, somebody out there listening hasn't read the book yet, and I just want to encourage you to get your hands on it. If you enjoy the things we talk about here on the podcast, you're going to enjoy Boy Mom. I did a ton of research for it. I worked really hard. It covers the 12 things your son needs most from you, and these are the things I have heard about for years from boy moms all over the place who just need a little bit of encouragement, a little more support. And so it's all there in one place for you, full of practical resources as well. So I hope you can get your hands on Boy Mom, or maybe order a copy for a friend. If you've got someone who's expecting a boy, or just to have on hand for a future gift, that would mean so much. And it's a great way to help me celebrate this 1-year anniversary. Okay, so as I was preparing for this week, I wanted to have Josiah on. He's leaving to go back to college, thank you God, in a few weeks' time. And so I said, Josiah, what is one topic you would like to share with boy moms? What is one topic that might inspire boy moms all over the world? And without any hesitation, Josiah said, I want to talk about imagination. And I wasn't surprised at all. Imagination has been such a part of Josiah's life since we can remember. And so he's going to share a little bit about the power of imagination in his childhood. And I really hope this inspires some of you. I know that since Josiah was a young boy, technology has become such a bigger thing. And even raising my 10-year-old son, I know that it's more of a challenge now than it used to be to get our kids to get off of devices and want to use their imagination. So I hope this inspires you. And Josiah actually created a printable to help you inspire imagination in your own kids. So he'll share with you a little more about that and where you can find it in our conversation. But the second half of this interview is actually about Josiah's use of imagination in his later teen years and as a young adult. And I'm so excited because he's going to share about something I've been dying to have him come on and share about for a long time. Something he does with his imagination that is super crazy but super cool, and I think you're going to love it. Something that maybe some of your kids will want to try, or maybe you will want to try, because I think it's something that would benefit anyone. Josiah also created a printable for that topic, so he'll tell you more about that and where you can find that. And of course, there's going to be links to Josiah's website and all these printables and everything else we talk about in show notes, which are always found at monicaswanson.com/podcast, and look for episode number 66. Okay, guys, thanks so much for being here. I hope you enjoy this conversation. So without further ado, here's Josiah and I talking about the power of imagination in every season of life. Well, hey, Josiah, welcome back on the Boy Mom podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Mom. It's good to be here.
Yes, special episode celebrating 1 year of Boy Mom.
Woohoo! All right.
Yes, and I've confessed before that as I wrote that book, I was secretly titling it for working purposes, How to Raise a Josiah. So that says a lot about this kid.
Thanks, Mom.
Yes, I mean it. So Josiah is a pretty awesome firstborn. Some of you have gotten to know him. I'll be sure to link to the other episodes where he has hopped on to chat with us here. But he's getting ready to go back to college this fall, and I'm so thankful he could join us today for this fun conversation. So before we dive in, why don't you just catch everyone up to speed on what you do, how old you are, all that.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm 21 now, and I'm actually going to be a junior at Westmont College this fall. I'm studying data analytics and computer science, and although I call Hawaii home, it's been fun to live in California for the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's had a great experience, and as much as we were sad for him to have to come home early last spring due to the quarantine, I selfishly was really grateful because he became my tech helper for putting together the character training course. I don't think I could have done it without him. So, Josiah, thank you again.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, that was a really fun process.
Yeah, I learned a ton. I think it was easy stuff for him, but I was grateful. So he is getting ready to head back along with his younger brother, Jonah, who will be a freshman at Westmont. And so we're just praying all goes according to plan and they'll get to be on campus this fall. And our hearts sincerely go out to anyone out there who is not able to be on campus. I think their college is pretty small, so that's helping, and we're just hoping for the best. But I'm super excited because I invited Josiah to join me for this special episode, and I said, hey, what's one topic that you would like to encourage mothers of boys in? What is one topic that you would most like to talk about on the podcast? And Josiah, why don't you tell everyone what you want to talk about?
I'm so excited to be talking about imagination today.
I love it. One of my boys' favorite topics since I can remember.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be talking about because this theme of imagination has really stuck with me over the years. And I think that the best way to talk about imagination today is to start from the beginning.
All right.
Back in Mililani, at our house over there. And what did imagination look like to me then? Well, I can remember pretty clearly spending hours in the backyard just running around with my brothers, clashing sticks together and rolling down the gulch and climbing trees. And
a lot of things blowing up.
A lot of things happening, things that only we could see, though.
Yeah.
So I was just describing what you might see as an observer, but in our minds, we were climbing mountains and fighting polar bears and defeating the evil scientists in the volcanic lair. And,
I love it.
You know, flying to exoplanets and discovering aliens. And, you know, this to me was kind of, it's kind of like the beginning of something that really stuck with me. Like a farmer casting seeds and then the seeds growing. That's really what it was. I didn't know that that's what was happening, but some of these themes have actually really stuck with me. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I love that, and I remember it well. And I guess you guys would like create a story and kind of talk. You were on the same page, right? Because I mean, I would just see little boys outside making a lot of sounds, but you were like going through stories together, right?
Oh, it was so detailed. It was. Yeah, we really had a formula,
I love it.
And we were on the same page. And sometimes we had some fights, some debates, just over what happens next.
Right.
Because if we're going to be on the same timeline in the same setting, we actually have to be in agreement about what happens next.
That's right.
I think that that we definitely polished up on our negotiation skills and our ability to compromise on things.
Right. But I also remember there were times where you were home alone for whatever reason, and you could go outside and just play in your own imagination as well. So
Yeah.
it was just a lot of time spent. And I think it's fair to acknowledge right here, as we talk about childhood and imagination, that this is something that I think is more challenging today than it used to be. I think in this digital age that we live in, kids have so many opportunities to be on screens and things that give them that quick fix satisfaction. And so they are less likely. I know that my youngest has been raised in a time where there's just so much more technology. And so it's more of a challenge to encourage him to explore his imagination. But tell us a little bit more about your memories from your childhood. And then we're going to talk too about how his imagination works now as a young adult, and it's still pretty active. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was little, I think that you, Mom, gave me the freedom to really just go and explore just where we were, and to be able to do that with my brothers was truly a gift. To be able to run around in our backyard and back there in the gulch and just kind of come up with these stories together. One thing, really interesting thing that kind of sprung up out of this time we had together was this organization called Pedskim.
And I had to ask Josiah before we started
It's
today.
an acronym.
Yeah, it's an acronym. And so tell us what each letter of Pedskim. Now, this was like serious commitment. All the brothers.
Oh yeah.
And you had some friends join in at some point, right?
Yeah,
Kind of a club.
we had a full-on club, and
Tell us the letters. You got
I'm
to.
still trying to remember exactly how this came about, but this organization, this imagination organization called Pedskim. What is it all about? Well, it's the acronym. You can just look at the acronym to figure out what we're all about. So it's parkour. Yep.
That was a phase.
Exercise.
Right.
Detective agency.
Oh, they were
detective work.
so into detective stuff.
Spying on people, I guess. Spying on the bad guys, of course. Survival.
Ooh.
Okay. Karate. Emergency essentials. And memorization.
They had to memorize.
All right, and this was like I was.
You
young.
were the leader.
I was the leader, but in my own little world, this was a very important thing to me, and my brothers and I, we took it very seriously.
Love it. That was fun.
Yeah,
and it kept them busy for hours.
It kept us busy.
And to be fair, we had a small backyard then. It's not like they were, I know we live in Hawaii, but wherever you are, a back porch, a living room, imagination can happen anywhere. So go on with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where we even came up all these ideas. And I think that's like part of the beauty of it is just that I think your mind is more powerful than you think. And so if you give and I think this is kind of the central theme of this conversation today. It's just that if you give yourself time and space, you can accomplish a lot, and you have much more potential than you might know. So that's something that I was tapping into at a young age, and I don't think I really understood all of it then. But with the time I've had since then, I've been able to kind of understand that more clearly.
Yeah, and I think that's how God wires kids and people if we are able to keep the imagination alive. I think that He creates us with that potential, and I love that kids have that freedom and feel free to explore their imagination if given time, like you said, and not too many distractions, and sometimes some boredom will help stir up the creativity in their imaginations.
Oh, for sure. And I think that boredom is really important. It's interesting you mentioned that because it's what kids sometimes lack today. And so if we don't see the kinds of things happening today that we saw then, it might be because kids are so preoccupied.
Yep.
So I'm going to start moving on, and I'm going to do it by talking about Submarine,
I was
the
just
book I
going to
wrote.
say.
And to do that, I'm going to quote a song from one of our favorite movies, Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Jonah played this song a lot last year, and I just want to read some of the lyrics from the song.
Okay.
If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it. And I think that this song is a testament to the bridge that we can build from our minds to reality.
That's good.
And so one of the stories that my brothers and I came up with when we were goofing around in the backyard, no, we weren't goofing around though, we were very serious.
Very serious.
It's this story about brothers who lived on an island and who had to work together to save their friends from this storm. And somehow, and this happened because we were kind of combining lots of different ideas from movies and books we read, we came up with this story where they actually discovered submarines on their island. And these submarines belong to a secret science company.
That's right.
And this all happened in the 1950s off the coast of Oregon. But this story really developed, and each time we played imagination together, we kind of added chapters to the story. And I remember being about 13 or 14 years old and thinking, wow, like we've really developed quite a story. And I thought, well, why don't I just fully engage and turn this into a book?
That's right.
And so I actually self-published Submarine a few years ago. And so I'm just thinking now, wow, like what a testament to imagination.
Yeah.
Just at least playing imagination when you're young. Like it's led to the publication of a novel.
That's right.
And I think that really just speaks to the value of the kinds of things you let us do when we were little, and just the initiative that we were able to take.
That's right. And
for whatever reason, I'm still kind of curious how or why we did what we did, but
but it was fun, and
it was worth
yeah,
it, I guess.
I'll be sure to link to that book because you can get it on Amazon, and trying to encourage Josiah to make an audio version because I think that would be fun. But it's a great read, and it was cool to see how that developed from your childhood and then later in high school going, you know what, we've got a true story here. So
oh yeah,
it's a great read.
Yeah, and so I actually want to mention that I have a principle for you and for your kids. Anyone who's listening, you can get this principle on my website, and this just allows you to take a story that you already know, that you're already familiar with. It might be from a movie or a book or a TV show, and basically you can make the story your own. And I think that this is a great way to get kids doing the kinds of things that my brothers and I did when we were little. And I think it's great because what you're doing is you're using the fuel of their excitement about a story they're already engaged with.
Yes.
And then you're setting them out into the world, maybe into the backyard,
right,
to go kind of make that story their own. And so you can go find that principle. It's really simple. It just gives you some guidelines for just understanding where the story has been and where it can go.
I love that. And to be clear, I mean, we've never been anti-technology. The boys, of course, were young, watching some movies, watching some television shows, and reading great books, of course. And I think, like Josiah mentioned, that was some of the inspiration behind Submarine. But just acknowledging that if kids are going to be watching or reading, let that be a springboard, right, to their own story. And I love that since he was young, Josiah's really had a fascination with story and writing story, and he's studied a lot about a good story. And so this printable that he created, I think you're going to love it because the other thing you can do with it is take that little outline, and as you're watching a movie or reading a book, you can help your kids identify the different plots in that storyline. So it kind of is almost a way to make a simple movie educational, but you guys are going to love it. I'm going to link to it in the show notes.
Ruining your movie watching experience.
Yeah, seriously.
Look out.
Yeah, it changes everything when you watch movies thinking about this story. But we'll link to that in show notes. I think you'll enjoy that, and it'll be a fun way to stimulate your kids' imagination. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this conversation with Josiah, and he's about to transition to talking about how imagination looked in his later teen years, as well as now as a young adult, and I think you're going to really enjoy what he's about to share. But first, I want to pause to thank this episode's sponsor, which could not be a better fit for this topic. IEW, the Institute for Excellence in Writing, is this episode's sponsor, and IEW is actually a big part of Josiah's early years of becoming a writer. Andrew Pudwa, the director of IEW, does such a great job of bringing imagination into the writing process. And when Josiah was just in his elementary years and then throughout middle school and high school, IEW played a great role in Josiah learning to love story and learning how to write great stories. So I want to thank IEW. And IEW has been around for over 25 years. They've offered an effective method for teaching writing that encourages and inspires students and molds them into confident and competent communicators and thinkers. IEW offers language arts materials to students of all ages, K through 12. Levi is going through IEW in this coming year as a 5th grader. And if you want to see all the curriculums we have used through IEW, you can go to IEW.com/Monica Swanson. There's a page set up that shows you everything I've used, as well as my favorite talk that Andrew Pudwa gives about boys and learning. So find everything over there. They are offering 3 weeks free curriculum this summer if you want to check them out. I know a whole lot of you are thinking about homeschooling in the year ahead. And even if your child is using a public school curriculum or going to school, you can use IEW on the side just to improve their writing skills. I don't think you'll ever regret that. Writing is so important for a lifetime. Okay, you can always find links in my show notes to everything that I've mentioned here, or you can go directly to IEW.com/Monica Swanson. Okay, back to my conversation with Josiah.
Mastermind Meetings.
Mastermind Meetings. Are you guys ready? I just don't want them to think you're crazy. That's all.
Too late, I'm afraid.
I have been so wanting to share this topic for like a long time, and this is the day because it is fully about imagination in your, I don't know, late teen to full adult years. And Josiah, will you tell everyone what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, I just think that it's a good idea at this point to define imagination.
Okay.
Because imagination doesn't stop when you're 13 or 14. Merriam-Webster Dictionary says that imagination is the act or power of forming a mental image of something not present to the senses or never before wholly perceived in reality. So the rest of this conversation, Mom, my goal is to convince the listeners that imagination is actually really important no matter how old you are.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. Mastermind meetings.
Okay.
Well, a few years back, you have some hesitation, Mom.
I promise he's not crazy. No, hang in there. This is super cool. Go ahead, Josiah.
Yeah, so a few years back, I read this book that was recommended to me by a friend called Think and Grow Rich. And this was written in the 1920s by a researcher named Napoleon Hill. And he went around and interviewed a lot of really successful people in America to see the kinds of things that they have in common with each other. And you know what? For many years now, something has sprung out of, I think it's business. I'm not too sure exactly what world this idea has come out of, but the Mastermind Meeting is basically just a way to group a bunch of wise individuals together and have them help you answer questions, solve problems, or maybe just comfort you when you're feeling down.
Right. And mastermind meetings are something most people listening are familiar with already.
Probably.
Because businesses, entrepreneurs, online people.
I mean, this was around 100 years ago.
Yeah, mastermind meetings. But you're talking about a little different kind of mastermind meeting.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you about today is an imaginary mastermind meeting. And here's the thing. It's kind of hard to get the most important, wise people in your life together at one time.
Right, especially right now.
Especially right now. Unless you have, like you could do a Zoom call or something. But I want to actually just break those barriers because what I realized when I read this book, Think and Grow Rich, is just that with an imaginary mastermind meeting, you can have anyone in your meeting, like, whether they're alive or not.
Dead people.
And so what I've been able to do after reading the book and learning more about this is I've been able to host imaginary mastermind meetings with people that are both alive and dead.
Some you know in real life.
Some I know in real life. Oh, yeah.
And some will never meet.
We'll never meet in this life.
Can you share some of the people who you meet with in your mastermind meetings?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorites is actually Dale Carnegie.
Oh.
And he was around during the time of the writing of Think and Grow Rich.
That's right.
But I also have people like Benjamin Franklin and Abraham Lincoln. And I love to hang out with characters from the Bible. One of my favorites is actually Joseph, coat of many colors Joseph.
Amazing.
And the Apostle Paul.
So you're all in a meeting together.
And I actually invite the future version of myself because he can tell me about the mistakes I might make if I continue along in the path that I'm on.
What?
Warn me about dangers to come.
Yes. So
and
how many?
Me.
You might not be surprised to hear Josiah also loves time travel theories. So.
Oh yeah, I'm a time travel enthusiast.
Yes. So how many people would you recommend, or how many people would be in your mastermind meetings?
Oh, well, it kind of depends on the topic.
Okay, so it changes.
Discussing.
Oh, okay.
It does, but I have probably about 30 people that I like to meet with.
Wow.
But yeah, sometimes it's just a few people that I actually call to the meeting.
Okay, and tell us what kind of things you would have a mastermind meeting about.
Well, a couple examples would be the following. Maybe you have a financial goal. You're trying to save up to buy a new bike or a computer, and you don't know how on earth you're going to get the amount of money you need. Well, you can consult your mastermind friends to figure out a game plan for how to get that money. Or maybe you realize you're spreading yourself pretty thin in life. You've got a lot of obligations, and you know that you've got to cut something out of your life. But it's kind of hard to make that decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you can consult your mastermind friends to figure out a good path to move forward on. You know, like maybe I should throw this out or this, and then that way I'll have more time. And that's exactly what I need right now.
Good old Abe.
Because I'm going crazy.
Right. So someone might speak into that.
I've had a lot of meetings about obligations.
Yes, I could imagine.
Cutting things out of my life.
Yeah. Awesome. So you just call for a meeting.
Oh, yeah. I
And
just call for a
everyone-
meeting.
and
It's
everyone
pretty
is
simple. Everyone shows up.
instantly-
Sometimes people show up kind of late. Abraham Lincoln is usually pretty late.
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes Paul was, he might be busy evangelizing or writing
love it.
epistles.
So in jail.
It's like, why are you bothering? I'm trying to write this letter to my crazy Corinthian friends.
So good.
No,
I love
actually,
it.
Paul's not busy. He's in heaven. He's probably just hanging out. So yeah, I consult these people, and I bring usually just a couple of questions with me, and I let them take turns answering the questions I have.
Wow.
And sometimes they disagree, interestingly enough.
Wow.
And that, to me, is a really interesting thing. Just the fact that these figures will sometimes disagree, and then I have to choose. Like this third party subconscious has to choose between the debaters and figure out which alternative is the best one.
Amazing. That is so fascinating to me. So I know for me, I mean, is this something similar to like when I go running or I take a long shower or even sometimes on a drive? That's when I'm able to process. Is that kind of what's going on in your mind when you're doing this?
Okay, well, I'm not a psychologist, but this is what I'm thinking. I think that humans need to do this. I think humans need to be able to process through all just the complexity of life.
Yeah.
And so your mind gets really excited and is really pleased with a walk or a long drive or a long shower. But, I think that the Mastermind Meeting is just a structured way of doing just that, setting aside time to think.
Yeah.
And it's just an orderly way to get the job done. So you could keep going on walks, but unless you're setting aside time intentionally to do these things, I think you might be missing out.
Totally. And so do you take notes while you're having the meting?
Yeah, sometimes I take pages of notes.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah. And you come out and you're just stunned by what you wrote down, because it's just like, how was this all in my mind?
Wow.
You usually can't think these things through unless you give yourself time and space to think them through. And
It is so true.
It's a powerful tool.
Yeah, I just think most of us don't give ourselves time to think, and not to guilt anyone, because especially during this quarantine time, we have a lot of noise in our life, a lot of people, a lot of needs. So it really requires us to pull away and carve out time, just like we would for self-care, I guess. You do other things to take care of yourself. You've had to get in some quiet places. I think I remember you going in your closet once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that happened.
That's so good. Well, I love this, and I think that actually Josiah has shared this with someone who is visiting once, and he was like wanting to fly Josiah to the mainland to like introduce this concept to his whole board at a business meeting, because he was so fascinated and thought, this is just genius. I think a lot of people could be using this, and whether you're in business and trying to make big decisions, or you're just a teenager or a boy mom, we could all do this.
Yeah, and I just want to say really quick that I do have a principle for the Mastermind Meeting as well. If people want to host their own Mastermind Meeting, and I encourage you to do so because I'm curious what other people think of this. You can print this thing out, and it's super simple. It's going to give you the ability to just write down who's in your Mastermind Meeting, and what topics you're trying to address, questions you might have, and then some answers.
Cool.
The most important part of this template is the date, because like I said, it's all about being intentional. Unless you put a date down, you're probably never going to get around to it. So take advantage of it, set aside time, and try it out. And you know what? Just moving on here, I just want to say, sometimes I consider these Mastermind Meetings times of prayer. And Mom, I know you asked me before, is God there? Is Jesus there?
Right.
And the answer is yes. I actually picture the Trinity presiding over the meeting. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to be led astray by maybe some of my secular friends or actually even the Christian ones, because they don't always have the best ideas. God has a plan for my life, and he has a plan for everybody's life. And if you allow him to, he will give you plans, and he will help you to navigate life's complexity. And he will utilize fictional characters in your head to make the best decisions. And so if you host this meeting, I encourage you to picture almost like a time of prayer where God is helping you to think things through. Because your brain is a gift. It's an incredible gift, and it's just compelling to think about how powerful your brain is and all the things it can do. So treasure the gift and allow God to use it for his glory. And you know what? I just want to say, just imagination today, what does it look like? Well, it looks like Mastermind Meetings, but also it also does other things for me. Turning things upside down. That's what I have written as a note here. Imagining yourself as a crucial character in an eternal story, perhaps, where demons are fighting to keep you ignorant of a spiritual realm. Wow, right?
That's huge.
And, I was thinking about the crucial role imagination plays in faith. I don't think I hear anyone talk about this.
Yeah.
But this is pretty incredible. I actually wrote down some verses. Do you mind if I share a couple of them?
Please do.
Yeah, because I think that if you look at the Bible and you read about the way that we are commanded to interact with the spiritual realm and with God, you actually find implicitly that imagination is so crucial. So
I agree.
From the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 6:6, Jesus said, when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So the Bible's acknowledging that we are communicating to an unseen individual.
So cool.
And how do we do that? Well, we use our imaginations, right? I mean, that's what we're doing.
I love it.
And I'm not saying that these things aren't real. I'm saying that they're more real than we know, and therefore we must use the faculty we have to
tap
pray
in. I love it. Right. I love it.
Another one that I found from Deuteronomy 4. So watch yourselves carefully, since you did not see any form on the day the Lord spoke to you. And then later it says, beware not to lift up your eyes to heaven and see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the hosts of heaven, and be drawn away and worship them. So what God's saying is, I know that the things I created, which you can see, are so wonderful, but don't be distracted by the things you can see, because you ought to focus primarily on the things that you can't see. And the way you focus on things you can't see is you use your imagination.
Yep. I love that. That is awesome.
One more?
Yeah, one more.
Okay. And this is from the Hall of Faith, Hebrews 11.
All right.
By an act of faith, Moses turned his heel on Egypt, indifferent to the king's blind rage. He had his eye on the one no eye can see, and kept right on going.
Wow. I love that. And I think some of your favorite authors, I'm thinking of C.S. Lewis. I mean, what an imagination, right?
Oh, yeah.
He brought spiritual truths to life with a wild imagination and painted stories and pictures that captivate children through adults still today. So, so much there if you take the time and have the space.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That is so encouraging. So you have two printables, one for kids, or really any age, and the Mastermind group probably for a little bit older teens to adults.
Yeah.
And
something for everyone.
Something for everyone. And they both will be on Josiah's website, which go ahead and tell people where they can find you.
Yeah. It's actually really easy. JosiahSwanson.com. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is Josiah Swanson.
So easy. And I will link to those as well as directly to that page where you can get both of the printables. And it's been a long time since I've mentioned Josiah's had a website for years. and he shares amazing photography. He's been a photographer since early high school, and he has some poetry, some short stories, even some short films.
Yep, it's true.
He and his brothers have created
Spitting
out of
facts.
their imaginations. And he also, of course, will have a link to his book, Submarine.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and he's on Instagram sharing a little bit more these days, so it's fun.
I'm trying. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a busy guy. Well, any parting words to inspire imagination before we close off?
Well, I'm pretty sure that imagination is generational and that it's a gift that you can pass down to your kids. So, to all the parents listening, I guess I'd like to say that you are setting the tone for your kids in the way that you talk about and showcase imagination. If you can realize imagination's crucial role in not only their development but your own success as a Christian and as a person of value in the world, you're going to do them good by setting that example. So have at it and have fun with it, because it really is so fun to do.
I love that.
To really try to rein in what this crazy topic is all about.
Right. And I don't think it takes too much as a mom, but I know just bringing up silly topics, reading fun books, and just exploring ideas that come to your mind. I don't think I've been super great at this. I can't take much credit because I was just happy you guys were outside playing when you were little. But I do think that in my family, my dad really inspired our imagination. Josiah, Grandpa Monty, he's always got crazy thoughts.
Yeah.
And he came up with like a color. He called it Serpal. And when I was a kid, he would always talk about this color, Serpal. And I'd be like, Dad, that's not a color. And he's like, oh, yes, it is. And it just made my mind like stretch. Like, what is this color he's talking about? And he would just create silly things that made me think and kind of challenged my brain to go into a place of imagination. So he's inspired me a lot. And I think he's inspired you guys too.
Yeah. Oh, he certainly has.
Yeah. Still to this day.
He passed it down for sure.
Yes. So moms and dads can really be an inspiration for their kids' imaginations. So, yeah. Well, thanks, Josiah. What a fun conversation.
So fun. Thank you, Mom.
Yep. I appreciate you being on with us, and we'll have you back again. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. And I would love to hear some of the conversations around your dinner table tonight. I hope this inspires you all to talk about imagination and to begin to explore your imagination and inspire your kids to do the same. Be sure to get Josiah's printables and again, find links to all those things at monicaswanson.com/podcast. This is episode number 66. I also want to congratulate Don Mansour, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but Don, congratulations on winning the July bundle of Surface sunscreen products. I appreciate all of you who entered to win by leaving comments over in show notes. And I know a whole lot of you have been ordering Surface products and getting 20% off by using code BOYMOM. So guys, if you haven't ordered yet, go over to surfacesunscreen.com and use code BOYMOM to get 20% off of all of their products. Now, Surface is wanting to team up for one more month of summer giveaways. So all you have to do is go over to the show notes and leave a comment in response to my question over there. You'll be entered to win the August bundle. At the end of August, we're going to send a bundle of Surface products, and they are so yummy, you guys. They smell so great. Just a few weeks back, I had dermatologist Heidi Foster on, and she recommended Surface as one of her physician-approved sunscreens. Luke and I were just recently trying all the different flavors of lip balms and trying to decide our favorite because they have so many great smelling and tasting. I know you're not supposed to taste your lip balm, but they have awesome lip balms, awesome sunscreens, lots of products for after sun and all the rest. So be sure to read more about Surface over at show notes, and I will be linking to where you can order your own Surface products and telling you more about their products in the show notes. So guys, thank you. Such a fun episode, such a fun celebration. I appreciate you being here, spreading the word about this podcast. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And until next time, aloha.